You think you would have seen it coming. A threat that final, that enormous, would surely announce itself. A dark cloud on the horizon. A warning bell. Some sign that the world was about to change. But the deadliest event in recorded human history arrived without a sound, carried in on something so small you could balance 100 of them on the tip of a single finger. We call it the Black Death. Between the years 1347 and 1351, it tore across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. And by the time it finally slowed, historians estimate it had killed somewhere between a third and half of Europe's entire population. Not over a century, in roughly 4 years. Whole family lines simply stopped. For a long time, no one had any idea what it actually was. People blamed poisoned air, sinful living, even the alignment of the planets. It took until the year 1894 for the true culprit to be found, when the scientist Alexandre Yersin, working during a later outbreak in Hong Kong, isolated the tiny bacterium responsible. Today, that bacterium carries his name, Yersinia pestis, but identifying the killer was only the first question. The one that haunted researchers for centuries was harder. Where did it come from? And how did something so small move so terrifyingly fast? The answer came from an unlikely place: teeth. When a person dies of plague, traces of the bacterium can survive locked inside the pulp of their teeth for hundreds of years. Ancient DNA specialists, including teams associated with the Max Planck Institute in Germany, learned to drill into the teeth of medieval skeletons and read the genetic ghost of whatever had killed them. In 2022, a study published in the journal Nature used exactly this method on bodies from a cemetery near Lake Issyk-Kul, in what is now Kyrgyzstan, and found Yersinia pestis in people who had died in 1338, nearly a decade before the plague ever reached Europe. Treat every one of these names and dates as a starting point and verify them for yourself before you publish. Now picture how it actually unfolded. Picture a harbor in October of 1347. A line of trading ships drifts into port in Sicily, their sails limp, their decks strangely quiet. When the dock workers climb aboard, they find most of the crew already dead, and the few still breathing covered in black swellings the size of eggs. The officials panic and order the ships away from the shore. But it is already too late. The rats have slipped down the mooring ropes and into the streets. And on those rats ride the fleas, and inside those fleas rides the bacterium, invisible and patient. A merchant wakes the next morning feeling perfectly fine. By midday, he has a headache and a fever. By nightfall, dark lumps have bloomed in his armpits and along his neck. Within a few days, he is gone. His neighbors follow, his family, the priest who came to bless him. Whole villages empty out. Bodies pile up faster than anyone can dig graves for them. The church bells that once rang for a single funeral fall, completely silent, because in some towns there is simply no one left alive to ring them. Stay with me here, because the twist that comes next changes how you should picture this entire story. For generations, we were all taught a very simple version of what happened. Rats carried fleas, fleas carried plague, and that was that. Clean and tidy. Except the tidy version has a serious problem. In many places, the Black Death moved faster than rats, and their fleas could physically travel. It leapt across whole regions in a matter of weeks, sometimes in the dead of winter, when fleas should have been dormant and still. So researchers began to suspect the classic picture was incomplete, that in some outbreaks, the disease may have passed directly from person to person through the air, turning every single cough into a silent courier. And here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Yersinia pestis never actually went away. The same bacterium that erased a third of a continent is still alive today, right now, living quietly inside wild rodent populations on nearly every inhabited continent on Earth. Every year, health agencies, including the World Health Organization, still record fresh human cases of plague, from Madagascar to the rural American Southwest. The monster of the medieval world is not a fossil sealed behind museum glass. It is a living, breathing, ongoing thing, sharing the planet with you as you watch this. So why doesn't it empty our cities anymore? The answer is a single modern invention: antibiotics. Caught early enough, the disease that once felt like an unstoppable death sentence is now, in most cases, curable with a simple course of medication that costs less than a meal. The horror that reshaped the entire course of human history was not defeated by prayer, and not by fleeing to the countryside, and not by any planetary alignment. It was defeated by finally understanding what it truly was, the exact knowledge those medieval villagers never had. And that is the real distance between them and us. It was never about the bacterium itself. The bacterium is still here. The distance is knowledge. Those people faced the very same enemy that you could theoretically face today. And the only thing that changed the ending was knowing its name, understanding how it spread, and having the tools to answer it. You thought you would have seen it coming, but the thing that ended a third of the medieval world was never something anyone could see at all. It was smaller than a single tear. It rode in on something as quiet as a whisper, and the only weapon that has ever truly beaten it was not a wall, or an army, or a prayer. It was simply the truth about what it was